ClientLook can sync your contacts and your events to Google. And Google can communicate that information to your mobile device, to a tablet, and even to Outlook. This bidirectional syncing works 24 hours a day to ensure that all of your contacts and events are consistently synced across all of your devices in the cloud. Now you can use a free Gmail account or a Google Apps account. And using Google for this purpose does not require that you change your email address. In fact, we'll be using your Google account's capacity to store contacts and calendars only, with no interaction with email at all. A Google Apps account is required, though, if you want to sync contacts with Outlook. Otherwise, Google syncs just calendar information to Outlook. Setting up the Google Sync in ClientLook is really easy, and it's something you only need to do once. It starts by clicking the Setup link in the upper right corner of the screen. And in the Setup module, choose the Sync tab. Now here you'll see a button for Establish Google Account Link. Just click that and provide your Google account credentials here. So this is either your free Gmail account or it's your Google Apps account. The screen that appears is going to ask you to grant access between ClientLook and your Google Contacts and Google Calendar. So click the Grant Access button. And that's it. Now the next screen you're going to see is the Edit Sync Setup page. And here's where you can turn your contact syncing on or off, your event syncing on or off, and set various options for each one. For example, under Enable Contact Sync, we can choose whether we want to send contacts from ClientLook to Google or not, and what contacts should be sent. The default is My Assigned Contacts. These are all the contacts for which you are the assigned to user. But you can change that to be All Contacts. This would send all contacts from your database. Contacts that are just shared with you, so those contacts that are private to you and shared with just me. You can choose None, so that no contacts are sent from ClientLook to Google. Or you can choose a group. If you're in a shared database, you should probably create a group and add contacts to that group so that you're not syncing all of the contacts in the database, but just a subset. So in this example, I'll choose Robert's Sync Group as my contact group to send to Google. Now you have the option of choosing whether or not you want to receive records, contact records from Google into ClientLook. The default is that you're going to receive all of the Google contacts into ClientLook. You can also choose to have no contacts come in at all if you prefer to just send contacts to Google instead. The final option here dictates what happens when you have a contact conflict. Now this occurs when a contact record has been changed in both Google and in ClientLook since the last sync. And if that occurs, you need to tell the system whether you want to skip the record, use the ClientLook contact, or use the Google contact. Now it's important to think of Google in this case as your connected mobile device. Google really just acts as a hub, connecting ClientLook to your phone or your tablet or to Outlook. So whenever it says Google, replace that with phone or Outlook or whatever in your mind you're syncing to. So the other important consideration here is with duplicates. When you set this up and you click Save and the synchronization runs, based on your settings here, ClientLook could take everything that it finds in your phone or Outlook or your Google account and send it into ClientLook and do the same in the opposite direction. So you want to make sure that you don't have the same contacts in both places to start. So don't have a contact database in your phone full of the same people that you already have in ClientLook. There's no duplicate checking when it comes to this synchronization. So in that case, you might want to export everything out of your phone, import it into ClientLook, and start the sync fresh that way. Once it's set up and everything's running, you shouldn't have any problems, but it's this initial duplicate checking that you want to make sure you're aware of. Now, under Enable Event Sync, you can choose the Google Calendar that you'd like to synchronize with. Now, Google allows you to create multiple calendars, but you can choose one to synchronize with ClientLook. And you can choose the sync direction. Do you want to sync events back and forth between Google or your phone and ClientLook? Or do you just want to send ClientLook events down to Google into your phone, or the opposite direction? And there's also an event conflict section here as well, which dictates what happens if that event was changed in both your mobile device and ClientLook since the last sync. Choose either that ClientLook wins or that Google wins, or you just use the most recent event, which is the default. Now, after you've made your choices, you can choose Save. If you want to disconnect ClientLook from your Google account at any time, just click the Delete Sync Profile and it will delete the association. But in our case, we'll choose Save Changes, and you'll see the Google Sync Summary page appear. This is what will appear every time now that you click the Sync tab within the Setup module. It indicates that your sync is active. You can switch it to inactive if you want to turn it off for some reason. It tells you the last time and date of the sync, and it gives an estimation of when the next sync will occur. It summarizes below all of your current settings, what contacts are being sent and received from Google, and what events are being sent back and forth as well. Now, ClientLook synchronization works 24 hours, but it runs on a periodic 2-hour basis. So don't be alarmed if you set the sync up and you don't see anything for up to 2 hours. Every 2 hours, the system is pulled to check everything in your phone or your Google account and send it to ClientLook, and anything that's been changed in ClientLook will be sent down to your mobile device. If you ever want to make any changes to any of your sync settings, simply click the Edit Sync Setup button here in the upper right and make your changes. But once this is set up, you should never have to touch it again unless you need to turn it off. It should just run automatically for you in the background. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out all the other tutorials in our video showcase at ClientLook.com.